Welcome to the DAT Extra Podcast, a production of Dairy Agenda Today. This is Melissa Hart, and today we visit with Rachel VanBuren of Lowville, New York. When we did this interview, Rachel had not been on her fall judging tour, so she doesn't even mention how successful they were in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania at the All-American Dairy Show judging contest. She's on the Cornell University dairy judging team, where they won the contest at the All-American Dairy Show, and Rachel placed 9th high individual. So congratulations to Rachel and her entire Cornell University dairy judging team for winning that contest. Now here's our visit with Rachel VanBuren.
I'm back at college. I'm a senior at Cornell. I'm studying animal science with a concentration in dairy management. So it's hopefully my last and final year here. And we actually started classes the week of State Fair. So I actually missed the first week of school to exhibit cows at the State Fair. And so now I'm back kind of actually doing some school for the time being until I go to State Show next week. So
oh gosh.
Then Harrisburg and then Expo.
Did you just, you could have just said, hey, I'll see you in October.
Yeah, exactly. I scheduled my classes very light this fall, knowing that I was going to, or having commitments to shows. And, I wanted to show obviously a lot this fall too. It's my last year as a junior. So, it's kind of my last hurrah. So I wanted it to be a good time and, be able to spend and dedicate as much time to it as needed. So. Okay.
So so you're studying dairy science at Cornell. What do you want to do when you get out?
Right. So that's the $1 million question. As a senior, you get asked that a lot, especially over the summer. I heard that a lot. I'm not 100% sure. I obviously didn't grow up on a farm, so I don't have a farm to go back to, which is totally fine. I guess that allows me, keeps my options open. I'm interested in genetics and repro, dairy genetics, dairy repro. And I'm not totally committed on whether I want to go back to a farm and work with a farm, with high genomics or high type herd and work on that side of like IVF embryo type deal, or, if I want to go work for a stud company after school and, work in their genetic sire program as well. I haven't really figured that out. Both options sound like maybe they sound intriguing, I guess. But I'm definitely open to whatever, and I'm not really committed to anything quite yet.
Okay, that sounds good. Have you had internships along the way?
Yeah, so this past summer I was up in Maine at Bergeen Farm, so the Briggs Bullard family up there. Yep, so I fed calves and worked on their heifer side of things, and I also worked with their show heifers and some of their show cows, and I made ice cream. They have their own creamery up there, so and they make custard. So I made frozen custard as well. So I kind of did a whole bunch of different jobs, which is fun. I got to experience a lot of different parts of the farm. And then 2 summers ago, I was an intern at Affinity Ag out in Findlay Lake, New York. They milk, I hope I don't get this wrong, I want to say they milk around 1,200 cows. They have a very unique setup. They actually buy in all of their cows as fresh 2-year-olds, so they don't raise any of their own heifers. So they breed everything to beef, and I just did herd work there. So I was with the cows all the time, treating, giving vaccines, assisting with some births here and there. So I was 100% cows that summer, and then this past summer I was kind of 100% on the heifer and calf side. So it was kind of a nice balance between the 2 summers.
You didn't grow up on a farm, right? Did you grow
No.
How did you get into showing Holsteins?
Yeah, so I guess saying I didn't grow up on a farm is slightly inaccurate, but not totally true. My grandfather, the house that I grew up on had a small barn, and so my grandfather did have oxen, beef cows, and he would board some heifers for other farms in the area. So I was involved in agriculture at a young age, and I always went out to the barn and helped with chores. But my older brother, my mom bought my eldest brother a calf when he turned 8, a registered Holstein calf. And when I turned 8, the same thing happened. And so we would always tie in with Jack Ross. So I've tied in with Jack Ross since a young girl. I actually, so that's kind of where it started all, and we all got involved a little more. I have an older brother, Caleb, and a younger brother, Sam. And we kind of all started enjoying showing registered Holsteins. So my father tore down the original barn that was on our property and built us a 20 cows tie stall with 4 box stalls at the back. So we still had beef cows. We still boarded some heifers for some farms to kind of balance out the cost of our showing. And then us kids had our show cows, our show heifers in there as well. So, but the barn was our responsibility. So it was me, my 2 brothers, and I going out to the barn twice a day, making sure chores got done. Obviously, my parents helped with like the financial side of things, but because they were financing majority of this, we were in charge of making sure everybody got fed twice a day and making sure everybody was clean and taken care of. So it's not your typical, like, I grew up on a 500 cow dairy, but so I kind of got like a little taste of the dairy industry and ag through that, but I definitely fell in love with the dairy industry because of showing, and that was like my first initial step into the dairy industry was because of showing, and definitely wouldn't be here at Cornell studying dairy without the registered Holstein and that type side of the industry.
So you were involved with the New York Holstein Junior activities. How did you get involved with that?
Yeah, so I did 4-H at a young age. So I did a 4-H quiz bowl. And then I think one year my mom was like, oh, Junior Holstein does a quiz bowl too. Like, if you do it for 4-H, how can it, we should try for Junior Holstein. And it's a little earlier in the year as well, so it's great practice. Get a competition in before the 4-H competition. So I think we just one year, my mom took our county. I think I was probably in middle school when we first went as a county and first started going just to compete for Dairy Bowl, and I did Dairy Jeopardy. And I think as I grew older and started, meeting new kids and like meeting some friends, I wanted to go back for other reasons besides just competing. And I think also as I started getting a little older, you started looking up to those older kids as well who sat on JEC and stuff like that. So I think I saw them and I was like, oh, I admire them. They're super cool. They go to Cornell, they go to Copelskill, they're on the dairy judging team, they're winning shows. I think that's a really great fit for me as well. And so I've now been on, this is my 3rd year, I think, on the JEC, and it's a great opportunity for leadership and just to meet new people, network, kids and adults both ways, and just get your name out there, but also develop skills that'll help you with your career in the future.
So you've been involved on the JAC for 3 years, and you're still on that?
Yes, this is my last year because it's my last year as a junior.
Right, okay. Are you on the judging team at Cornell? Have you been?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
This year. Yeah, so I'm on the judging team this year with Adam King, Jade Atherton, and Sophie Woodis. I'm super excited, super pumped. We just, the week before State Fair, we had our boot camp week where we traveled around New York State, visited a bunch of different farms, judged cows. Our coach is Kevin Zimba. He was super helpful, instilling confidence in us and developing our skills. But I think dairy judging is a great opportunity not only to become a better showman and become a better dairyman, because you understand how to logically break down a cow and understand different breeds, what you're looking for in different breeds. But I also think it's really important for public speaking and your confidence. Kevin has talked about this numerous times, how important it is that you need to be able to defend yourself and talk your points thoroughly. And you have to do that obviously when you're giving reasons for dairy judging, but not only in the workplace after we graduate. So I'm super excited. I love dairy cows, and I love looking at nice dairy cows and, judging them. But I'm also excited, to build more personal skills and see myself grow well on the dairy judging team this fall.
Well, you had probably done dairy judging in 4-H, right?
Yes, a little bit. I did it as so the junior division, a little bit at state fair and at spring show, but unfortunately I had my soccer practices would start during the state fair, so I never got to really compete as a senior and actually give real reasons. Mm-hmm. So definitely my reasons were a little rocky at the beginning of the week, but Kevin and I have been working very hard, and they really have come around. So I was definitely involved in dairy judging as a younger kid, but definitely that's not where my main focus was, I guess, just because of our other conflicts in my schedule. So.
Right. So have you judged at any of the major dairy shows as a 4-H'er?
No, I haven't. Yeah, so only State Fair and New York Spring Show. So yeah, this will be my first time at Harrisburg and Expo judging.
So how does it feel to be a part of a team like that and to be able to go and see all the different farms?
Yeah, I think it's an honor, right? Because I've looked up to so many kids on the dairy judging team here at Cornell, friends previously, but also people who, when I was younger, I thought were just rock stars as juniors in the dairy industry and as young individuals in the dairy industry. So it's definitely an honor. And, Cornell has a great track record, so I hope to continue that. But I also think it's a really cool experience and a cool opportunity that these farms around New York State are willing to support us as young individuals in the dairy industry and open their doors and, open their barns to us and allow us to see their great cattle and evaluate their great cattle and talk about great cattle. I think that's also another great component about dairy judging is it's a conversation. Everybody has different opinions, but it's always great to hear those opinions about different cows. And I think it's very interesting to see how a farmer places a class versus how we place a class, because we're just there for one day, and the farmer or the breeder is there every day with their cows. So definitely it's a great privilege to be on the dairy judging team and to be able to travel around the state and around the country to see all these great cattle.
That's a really good point about the farmer, because when we used to open up our barn for the judging team to come in and, we'd put together a couple of classes for them. And it was always fun for me to see how they place the cattle, because in my mind, when I milked those cows morning and night, 7 days a week, I had my favorites, and they weren't always the ones they liked. We bring into it health traits, personality traits.
He doesn't kick the milking machine off every single night. She's not bad of a cow. And I think another component of it too is I got to judge some pretty cool cows this past week. We went to Oakfield, we went to Retso, just to name a few. So some of these cows are named cows in the industry. We go judge them. I know exactly who they are. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of difficult as well, because we're used to seeing these cows on show day, and now we're just seeing them in their working pants, their working clothes, however you want to put it. Uh-huh. And so you really have to evaluate the cow for who she is that day, which can be difficult. So you kind of have to put your opinions and what you've decided kind of beforehand aside, because that, if she's not the cow that she was at Expo last year, then she's not the cow she is,
Right.
It's tough.
You certainly don't want to put Avianca in third.
I know. That was such a tough class. I know. Jamie and Alicia were both there and tied them outside, and I'm just like, oh, you gotta be kidding. And so the heifer I had at State Fair is out of emoji too. So I'm just like, well, I don't want to make emoji look bad. I want her to look good, so my heifer looks good. And poor Brooks, she's going dry here. I think they were going to dry her off within the next week or two, they were saying. So it's like, I love that cow, but, she just isn't quite 100%. And then you have Avianca, who's just, overwhelms you and, her size, capacity, and you're just like, I don't really know what to do with this. I think Kevin was more like, oh, guys, have fun with this class. You can kind of talk anyway. I'm so lucky to live in New York State. I mean, there's a lot of great dairy states out there as well. Wisconsin, California, Ohio, just to name a few. But like New York has great cows and great people and great dairymen. And I'm very privileged to have grown up in this state and in this junior association.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And I'm so glad that you realize that. That will take you so far. Good for you. Good for you. Tell me where you got this heifer that you won with at New York State Fair.
Yes. So Jack and I drove down to Maryland this past spring. So I purchased her from Matt Hallbaker's sale. This past spring, yep. I purchased her from Pat Lundy, technically. So I think Pat must have gotten embryos or something from Oakfields. I went down there looking for a heifer that would take me onto some of the bigger shows this fall, because it's my last year, so I kind of wanted a last hurrah. So I was looking for a calf that was going to take me there and had a pedigree, to continue hopefully to become a good cow later on too. But I was really looking for a nice heifer. So originally I went there looking for a winter calf, but none of the winter calves jumped out at me. And so we moved on to something else. And so Jamie and Jack pointed out this one, and she actually didn't look her best for sure at sale. So I was like, you know what, guys, I'm going to trust you. Obviously they know this industry and the cows a lot better than I do. So I was like, you know what, we'll see how on auction day goes. And so I ended up buying her and bringing her home, and she has progressed 100% and has changed quite a bit since that day. Yeah, so that's where she came from, and that's kind of her origin story.
What is she?
She's an unstoppable out of Oakfield's emoji. And so it's backed by like 7 generations of excellent, I'm pretty sure. So emoji goes back to the Elegance family.
What else do you have? Do you have any other heifers that you're excited about?
So unfortunately, because I am in college at the current moment, my brothers and I have really slimmed down on what we own. I think probably at the peak of when we were really involved and we were all back home working, taking care of our cows, we probably had around 20 to 25 amongst the 3 of us. But now that number is down to like 5.
Okay.
So that number has really dropped. So our animals are boarded at Jack Ross's at the current moment.
Okay.
And have been for the past 2 years. So he does the day-to-day care during the school year. And when my brother's home on the weekends, he goes and helps Jack with chores or miscellaneous things. And then when I was home, and now that Sam's home, we're in charge of leading all the heifers. So Jack has our heifers there as well. And then he has, I think, about maybe 10 of his own there. And so when it comes to the show season, we're at the farm 3 times a week, leading heifers, rinsing heifers, helping him whenever he needs help. And then we, work as a team. And that's really what it is. It's a team effort. Obviously, Jack's our mentor. He's the one who has allowed us to have such good animals and has helped us develop our animals. Even when we had cows back when we were taking care of our own heifers, he would always stop into our barn, every other week or so, and checking on our heifers and help us. So he is the wisdom, he's the knowledge, he's the one who's helping us, guide us through. But we're not that I want to say we're the grunt work, but we're the ones that are helping him be able to, have his animals and get his animals ready for the show. So, he's there the day to day, but we're the ones that are, helping him lead and helping him at the shows. And
it's a very good relationship.
Yes, yes, and I'm so thankful for everything he has taught me and, what he allows us to do. So it kind of is like he's willing to take our animals, board them at his place for us as long as we're willing to put in the effort to help him with his animals. So it's a team effort for sure. Okay. So at the current moment, I really only own Elusive. My brother has another fall calf at home that we decided to keep home. She's a pretty nice calf. She was just a little too small. And then he has a Dorman out of Oakfield Salsa Dancer that's actually going to calve here soon with an altitude daughter, or hopefully altitude daughter. But that's really about our small herd. So
Jack does not milk cows anymore, right? Because this is just show cows. It's show heifers. And then what do you, as your heifers calve, where do they go?
So right now our cows are boarded at Jason and Jordan Thomas's place in Turin. So that's like 10 minutes away from Lowville. So that's where they're kept and milked at. And
do they have, how big is their herd?
I think they milk around 60, I want to say. Mostly jerseys. They're Jersey people. But they do have, their barn is originally made for jerseys, but there is a small section that they built some bigger stalls to accommodate our Holsteins. And so that's where some of Jack's heifers get calved out as well. And there are some other people who show cows in our county that also board some Holsteins there too. So predominantly the Thomases have jerseys. They have a few of their own Holsteins, and then the rest of the Holsteins that are there are mostly boarded. Caleb is my older brother. He is just turned 25. And then my brother is Sam, and he is 19.
So what are your plans with cattle in the future? I mean, you want to just continue to show heifers, or are you going to flush anything? Are you going to flush Elusive? What are you thinking about doing with her? Are you going to get into that game since you love genetics? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're hoping to breed Elusive. She should be getting bred hopefully here any week now to calve her in as a fall yearling and milk next year. So that's kind of our main focus is just get her bred. I don't think I'll flush her as a heifer, but we'll see how she calves in. And if she calves in, as I hope she should, definitely I'm interested in IVFing her. We'll see where this year takes me. I think I really just need to, unfortunately, as much as I love showing cattle and I've been involved with it, and I want to be involved with it in the future. I think right now I just need to kind of figure out where my career is going to be and where I'm going to be before I can make any too big of purchases or commitments on other animals. So I think we're going to kind of keep it small for the current moment, but definitely in the future, it's the part of the dairy industry that I love and I'm most passionate about. And without it, I wouldn't love the rest of it, but it's what makes me excited. So I would love to continue to show cattle, but right now, to kind of offset that, these past couple of years because of college, I haven't really had anything that I have been too invested in cows at least. I have gone out to Expo with the Reynolds family, Ryan Creston, worked for them in a couple different shows. So maybe if I don't even have my own cattle to start out with quite yet, I hope to continue to, work for other people and go to the other shows and still be able to have a piece of, that side of the industry. I guess that's kind of my answer.
Okay,
long way around it. But
yeah, no, that's fine. That's good. What about National Convention? Did you go?
This past year I did not. No. Unfortunately, well, it's not that it is unfortunate. I wish I would have gone because all the pictures and all the stuff was so cool. But the Bullard family, their 2 kids both competed in competitions. So they went as a family out to Kentucky. So I stayed back at the farm and made sure things were running smoothly. So it was kind of a trade-off. And it's unfortunate I didn't get to go. Would have loved to, but, I was back at the farm experiencing and learning different things. So
that's what happens with dairy families, right? I mean, not everybody gets to go. So, yeah, that's definitely a sacrifice on your part, but good for you. And you should graduate in the spring?
Yeah, May 2024. Yep, that's what my resume says, so it's got to be true.
And how long has it taken you to get through?
4 years. So
okay.
Typical. Yep.
Good for you. What do your parents do?
My mom is a dentist, and my dad runs a small engine shop. So really no ag ties in that department at all. So it kind of, the 3 of us kids kind of all fell in love with ag and the dairy industry without really anybody really forcing us into it. It's just something we've all loved and enjoyed. And so I've joined the dairy industry by choice, I guess, completely by choice.
That's a great statement.
So I'll tie in with Oakfield at Harrisburg, and then I'll tie her in with Reynolds at Expo. So I'll work for Reynolds after the judging competition's over. But yeah, so she'll go with Oakfield at Harrisburg, and then she'll be with Raincrest Reynolds family at Expo.
To be able to go with 2 really great herds to the 2 big shows, I mean, that is really cool that you get that opportunity.
It is a cool opportunity to have her, tied in with Oakfield, obviously some of the best cows in the industry, and then Reynolds with some of the best heifers in the industry. I've had the opportunity to work with the Reynolds at several different shows and learn a lot from them as well. And then, Jack being so close to Oakfield, I've had animals tied in through Oakfield, and, I've talked to Jamie and Alicia, and, having that experience between the 2 of, some of the best cows in New York State and in the nation, really, it's really, yeah, that is a privilege for sure.
Thank you for joining us for the DAT Extra Podcast, a production of Dairy Agenda Today with Rachel VanBuren. I'm Melissa Hart. You can listen to this on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Make sure to like and share this podcast. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time.